They tell you to stop overthinking. Just act, just decide, just let it go. But what they don't realize is you've already considered that twice from 10 angles. And you're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because your brain is too good at seeing everything. Overthinkers aren't slow, they're deep. They don't just react, they simulate, not one move ahead, but 5. They don't just ask, what if it goes wrong? They ask, what if it goes wrong and that sets off something else, which spirals into something bigger that ends up shifting the entire outcome? That's not fear, that's foresight. That's the mind of a strategist, the architect, the person people turn to when things actually fall apart because they already saw it coming. But here's the part no one teaches us: how to channel the mental flood, how to take that overflowing stream of ideas, doubts, angles, outcomes, and build with it. Most overthinkers were never taught to trust their thinking, only to fear it. So they drown in possibilities, instead of learning to filter them. You don't need fewer thoughts. You need stronger filters. You don't need to slow your mind. You need to direct it. Because once that mental flood finds its current, it becomes unstoppable. And that's the real transformation. From analysis paralysis to decisive precision. The overthinker doesn't need to become impulsive. They just need clarity, a compass, a why that's bigger than the what-ifs. Once that's in place, decision-making becomes effortless. Not because you stopped thinking, but because you trained your thoughts to serve you, not scare you. We live in a world obsessed with speed, move fast, decide faster, and in that rush, deep thinkers often feel left behind. But maybe speed was never the real solution, because the world isn't suffering from a lack of speed, it's suffering from a lack of depth. And that's where your mind lives. It doesn't skim the surface, it dives. You don't just think, you navigate through noise, through consequences, through futures others don't even know exist. Overthinking isn't chaos, it's data, it's layers. It's the ability to hold complexity in a world that craves simplicity. And that is a strategic superpower. You sift through noise, you spot second-order effects, you map long games while others react to short ones. So no, your mind isn't broken, it's brilliant. All it needs is structure, clarity, a mission. Once you give it that, you don't just survive the noise, you outmaneuver it. Your brain is like a chess master trapped in a game where everyone else is playing checkers. So yes, you hesitate, you pause, you scan the board. And that delay? That's not indecision. That's design. That's you running simulations faster than anyone around you realizes. They call it anxiety, but underneath that is intelligence, responsibility, empathy, the ability to think of others, not just yourself. You don't overthink, you outthink. And when you learn to channel that into planning, creating, leading, you become unstoppable. So maybe the flaw isn't in your mind. Maybe it's in a world that confuses depth with delay. Maybe they only called you an overthinker because they couldn't keep up with how fast your mind runs in silence.